attack. You better stand, there's no turning back. The music sounds, the charge begins. But on this battlefield, no one wins. The smell of acrid smoke and horse's breath as we plunge on into sudden death.
Hello everyone, my name is Notepad and on an I write games for fun, so what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be working on nothing really. Being frank here, not really going to be working on much. But what we are going to be working on is, well, welcome to Weekend. This is a Weekend Warrior stream, and when we do Weekend Warrior streams, it's kind of a free-for-all what the fuck we're going to be doing, actually. The big thing, what I want to do, though, is, let me just get all of this set up. Technically, I should select you. I need to put you over here. Ignore that other Weekend Warrior box. It cannot hurt us. In case you're wondering why I haven't been doing, like, actual Weekend Warrior projects, the answer is because Flesh Mech Annihilator is killing me. Seriously, that's really it. Like, Flesh Mech Annihilator at this point is like 300 abilities. I just have to just sit down one day and do. And that's emotionally destroying me. And so I'm like, maybe if I can just delay on it, it'll go away eventually. And it does. And I no longer ever have to worry about it. Isn't that right, everybody? Yes, that is how it works. It's not. But what are we actually going to be doing today? What's the actual thing? Hello, Draco. How are you? What is the stream about? Well, what it's going to be about, if I scroll down here a little bit, with the ending of God Killing Swords yesterday, we're going to be moving on to Dying of Dryad's Soliloquy on Monday, which, kind of depending on how that goes, other things may occur. But what a thing I want to kind of go over is this. These are Notespansions, which are things I decided that I wanted to expand on. They're games or they're things that I actually think are kind of interesting in their own way. Actually, I should update this to make sure. This is what is Dying of Dryads about? Well, Dying of Dryads was, someone actually paid me money to do this. They paid me, I was paid money to write a game called Dying of Dryads, and that game was supposed to be a hack of Song of Swords. Song of Swords, I can pull up the cover, is I wouldn't say well-known game, but a game known enough in certain circles that people may know this. Now, the big thing with Song of Swords, as you can see right there, is that Song of Swords actually has quite a few hacks of it. It's Ballad of the Laser Whales, and people have been kind of making their own, using the same system, expanding the systems out, doing their own things with it. So, my friend, being the apex meme lord that he is like, hey, I want you to write me something. I want you to write me a game with this in mind. And I did. Dying of Dryads is a literary reference at its core, and that literary reference is, well, sorry, got something in my throat. Dying in a Shakespearean sense is the act of having sex, because you died a little bit every time you committed sin, so that's bad. Don't do that. Remember, kids, this is Shakespearean. So Dying of Dryads was, well, I got paid money to write a lewd hack, effectively, of Song of Swords. And I did. Is this game a graphic rendition of everything that can occur? Yes. Is it literally a giant metaphor for everything? Yes. This game is weird. This game is very weird, because you couldn't think about things like... Because Song of Swords is a game very much about weapons. It's a game about combat. How do you turn a game focused on combat into this? And the answer is carefully and wanting to kill yourself a little bit. But I managed it. It does technically work. And then what I'm going to be doing with it is updating it, making it kind of, giving it itself its own little personality outside just being a Song of Swords hack. The original will remain, because I'm probably going to shift it in a different direction. But that is effectively what Dying of Dryads is about. Because I don't get paid money to write, games that are, like, interesting. No. I get paid money to write games that people want to break No Nut November to. That's what I get paid for. Because I can't have nice things. This is known. But this is going to be a Redux project. This one isn't actually, like, terribly big either. Like, this is only 45 pages. Like, it's not going to be very long. There's just going to be a lot of things I need to, like, upkeep with it. Because, fun fact, there is a lot to this game. And a lot to this game is not going to be easy at all to fix, because it's never easy, and I'm gonna have to go over every single part of this godforsaken game while also making it PG enough for Twitch. That's gonna be the fun part. So that's that. The universe won't let me be happy. See, he understands. See everybody, see random people on the internet viewing this video later, he understands. My boy Draco here, he gets it. He gets I am not allowed to be happy. But what I'm going to be kind of going over today is stuff like this. These are just kind of like side projects that I want to kind of get some notes done for and like some ideas down, because I think that's interesting to do, and it's better to have something later. It's better to have something that you don't touch for a while than to have nothing and then what you have to get done. And eventually, if I do get these done, I can kind of add them to the list in case people want to do that. The big ones we're going to be working on is this one. Yeah, effectively I'm calling it canceling the apocalypse. Because for those who don't know, I fucking hate Powered by the Apocalypse. I fucking despise that system. I despise what it's done to this industry. So, effectively, what I want to do here is, my theory is, effectively, PBTA, powered by the apocalypse. Apocalypse is a pretty much game design theory. That's what it is. That's what it is at its core. It's a game design theory. Now, the idea behind a theory is that you need to be able to find a counter theory. Like, that's kind of one of the big things with here is like, we need to find something that can counter it. Mostly when it comes to something as subjective as this. So, what's canceling the apocalypse, CTA, we'll call it for now, is going to be about is how do you remove the PBTA from if I can actually type, from a PBTA game. That is what this game is about. Well, not really. It's not even going to be a game. It's going to be effectively you can almost call it an equation of how to de-emphasize some of the mechanics there and start pretty much back hacking them. If someone makes something, being able to take your time machine and be able to rewind it, take the parts out, and then start over again at a different angle with using the same idea. Is this somewhat scumbag ridden, and I'm saying that people's hard work is not worth it? Yes, because you were a fucking PBTA game. And you being happy is not my priority, nor do I give a shit. Because generally, you don't believe that you should be, because PBTA is bad, and you should feel bad for writing it. So, that's kind of like my idea behind that concept. The other ones are things like I just want to do stuff with, I think would be interesting. Like the Necromancer's Guide to Dolls is about Necronica, if you can't kind of get that from it saying Necronica stuff, and I love Necronica. I think Necronica is a brilliant game, but people usually get pissed off about Necronica for I'm going to say very obvious reasons, and I'll let you decide what that very obvious reason may be. I don't know. There's something about Necronica that might get people a little bit peeved. There might be some. I don't know what I don't know what it could be. Like, I don't know what potentially could this game about literal undead children potentially may find people not 120% behind. I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, the Necromancer Guide to Dolls is going to be my we're going to call it affectionately stuff for Necronica. Not necessarily like anything too hardcore, but you could argue that this is going to be, making Necronica, actually I should say is adding things to Necronica to keep the theme, but accommodate different lines of thinking. Because at the end of the day, Necronica is a game about fighting, about three things. Fighting, going insane, and fighting, and dying. Those are the three things that you actually do in Necronica. You don't do much else. And anything you do outside of that is in service to one of these three things. So it would be, my goal is to add on more shit effectively. This project actually kind of spawned from someone wanting to pay me. Someone wanted to pay me money, actual legitimate United States dollary dues, to rewrite Necrotica for them. They wanted me to rewrite the entirety of Necrotica into a mech game. Now, there are a lot of people who think, like, oh, you can turn Necrotica into a mech game. Yeah, you can turn Necronica into a mech game. Now, I'm going to give you all a very quick secret here. You cannot do this. That's not what the game is about. That game is not built for that ideas, and it's not built around those concepts. Because at the end of the day, again, Necrotica is about fighting, going insane, and dying. However, what they do, and what Ryu is very good at, mind you, what Ryu is, Ryu Kamiya is a very well-versed individual doing, and I respect him immensely for that, is about the theme. The theme on top. On top of all those things. You're not just fighting, you're, fighting in a hopeless world as someone innocent. That's, you immediately have that bit of dread behind you, being like, you're an innocent person. You are someone who is roughly around the age mentally of about, I think the exact age is about 8 to 18 is the rough age, and with a body of someone around the same age. Mind you, which may be mismatched, by the way. You may have an 18-year-old body, but still think like you're 10. That's the entire point. It's the idea of innocence lost. Using the probably one of those most innocent individuals you could think of being children who are horribly mutilated and going to die horribly. That going insane aspect is, you don't go insane by looking at something spooky. You go insane, it's, you're going insane because you've lost your way. You've lost your fetters, you've lost people close to you, people aren't communicating well with you anymore. You don't go insane by looking at fishmen, you go insane because you are a undead abomination of God, and nobody cares. That's how you go insane. That's how you lose a character pretty easily. And finally, dying is inevitable. Dying is inevitable. But you're undead immortals. That's the big thing. All of these things always tie together. The idea that you're gonna die. You're gonna feel real bad sometimes. But it's the idea of, I've gotten both my arms ripped off and half my torso removed, but I'm still kicking, kind of thing. Like, I'm still going. Like, it's a very simple game. It's a very simple idea behind it, but it's just really well put together. And again, I immensely respect Ryu for it. The problem is, Ryu happened, and Ryu Kamiya is a fucking lolicon. He is, as they would say in Seth's Discord, one of the Splinter servers at this point, a cunny connoisseur. I respect the man immensely, don't like his tastes. So, pretty much the idea behind, the Necromancer's Guide. The core idea would be additional parts, additional options to things like combat. This would be, because the thing is, combat takes place on a relatively simple board, and that simple board is what kind of defines the entire game. And because it defines the entire game, that's something you got to deal with. That's something that is fairly important. Thus, Notecromancer's Guide to Dolls. Now, the core thing would be additions, like additions to the base. Not necessarily major changes to anything. And that's like, that'd be the kind of the core, thing that I want to get across, is that we're not going to be making major changes. It's going to be more more options for the dolls. More combat effects. I have a few ideas for that. I know how I want to do it. It's just simply act of doing it. And finally, we have, more combat effects, and then we have, quote, alternate dolls. The entire idea being that people have run Necronica games that aren't necessarily undead lollies. People have run Necronica games where all the characters are middle-aged men, but they use the ideas of Innocence Lost, and they use those kind of themes and ideas very well, and that's the entire point. They have to use those themes well. So kind of like the idea would be, expanded combat field option, expanding combat field. And you can argue that another aspect of this, actually what I should do is put this right here, would be, expanding the game outward. Because Necronica is a game that you can't really play very long. If that makes sense. Like, yeah, you can play a game of Necronica for quite a long time, but the game doesn't. I'm not going to say do that well. I'm going to say that it doesn't want to do that well. It's not supposed to do something like that. The goal is to play kind of a one and done game, maybe have 4 or 5 sessions strung together, and that's really it. So this would be, my goal here would be, adding in, more, I wouldn't say strict leveling, but more like Necronica themed level, progression systems, kind of moving toward a end goal more than anything, and adding in more options, to do things, and it would be, something like piecing together the memories. Like, one of the big things about the game is piecing together your memories, trying to make something good about it, when you realize very quickly that your memories aren't always entirely reliable. So the idea of that would be pretty much completing an arc. And it would be about kind of completing those things, and rather than letting like the GM determine like this is the end of the story, more like having like a clear set of endings that you can work toward. And it's like, hey, you've dumped experience points into this, you've put this, you've put time and effort into doing this, let's do this. That's how I would want to make it work, because Necronica is not built around that. Necronica is far away from anything resembling that. Let me see it. Let me break. Oh wait, no, it's what did I end up putting it to? I put it under sci-fi post-apoc. Where's Necronica? There's Necronica. Hello, Necronica. Hello. Yeah, like, the main thing that would be getting included would be aspects from here. This is what things would get like most expanded out to, and which kind of reminds me, what I would need to do as well is we want to put right there, we want to put you right there, and kind of like I'm gonna call it a loose but focused, focused, if I can actually fucking spell focused, set of rules for creating parts. Because creating parts is odd. Because you don't. Like, if we go down to, let's say, page 100, 110, 110, you're going to have a lot of parts that are odd, and it's like, okay, I have a katana, melee attack 2 plus dismember plus 1 to die if they attack check. These are what a majority of the, you could argue, game is about. These parts, what they do, how they operate. And a lot of the, kind of expansion material, a lot of the what people homebrew is mostly going down to stuff like this. I want to add more options for my characters to have. I want to add more things. But, like, I'm going to be doing shit like expanding this out as well, which is a note I'm going to have to put down real fast, actually. Now that I'm reminded of it. Which is going to be expanded, like an expanded adventure phase. Because right now, the adventure phase is roll a d10, roll above a 5, fuckboy, bet apart, and you roll additional d10. Like, that's literally, it's a very bare bones, non-existent system. I would need to literally make an entire separate system for that. Like, that's going to be like the Necromancer's Guide is going to be split up into multiple parts. Like, very much so. It's going to be things like more options for... Actually, that's way too big. We want to do this one. It's going to be like more options for dolls. Actually, be something more like... This is what's going to be like one option. Yeah, actually, it would be more like... This is going to be section 1. This will be section 2. Actually, like, this will be section 2. Section 3. Section 4. Like, all of these kind of working together to form the entire, mess of things. Which is a lot easier said than done. Which is a lot easier said than done, because there's a lot of stuff between with Necronica. Like, I actually can visit the wiki real fast. Which, fun fact, like, the Necronica, like, thing is one of my most viewed videos, which I always thought was kind of interesting. So, yeah, the official Italian version of the game, yes. The fucking Italians are apparently doing, like, a full legit translation of Necronica. Like, they are doing a full translation of the game and releasing it in stores. I think that's pretty cool. Like, I think that's, like, pretty interesting. And then you have things like this. You have a few source books where it comes like, oh, it's just 2 people. Or it's just little things. And I want to expand this out so people can literally go here, click down the notes, and here's a bunch of fan supplements, fan resources, so someone who wants to make something has the option. Kind of, you could argue, one of my things effectively would be taking these ideas, that's already kind of here, different aspects, and hybridizing them to make them kind of like here's a actual legitimate way of doing this, rather than just kind of winging it, as the current situation is. And that would be the goal. It's great. But yeah, that's kind of Necromancer's Guide. Like, this is gonna be like, thing is, Necromancer's Guide is gonna be a biggie. Like, that's just something, like, I fundamentally know. Like, this is just gonna be a big fucking project that's just gonna take time. And I'm gonna have to reconsult, the Necronica book every 20 minutes kind of thing, and double check. What does an extra arm do? What does patchwork do? What does this do? What does this do? And just adding parts upon parts upon parts upon parts, double checking, expanding systems like the battle map out. How do you expand the battle map out? How do you expand the systems out? How do you expand you? And how do you expand things like favor? How do you make Necronica bigger without really changing the core identity of it? That's going to be the complicated thing with Necromancers. Warbots and Wanderings, actually. So, like, this is entirely based on a single fucking comment from the Engine Heart video. Let me actually bring up Engine Heart. So, Engine Heart, for those who don't know, is an adorable fucking game by Viral. And Viral, if you are out there, hit me up, boo-boo. I think you're a great guy. I think we can make some good games. But this is one of his games, and now the core idea behind Engine Heart is you're not playing heroic robots. Like, you're not playing like cool robots. You're playing the little toaster. Like, it's literally like if you want what Engine Heart is. Like, this is Engine Heart. This is the movie. This is how you explain Engine Heart to somebody, except you make it Mad Max while doing it. It's Mad Max. It's Brave Little Toaster Beyond Thunderdome. Yeah. I'm curious. I wonder what's gonna pop up here. Yeah, like, this is the idea behind things. Like, you're playing the brave little fucking toaster. Like, and you're going on a magic quest to try to, save the fucking world. Problem is, you fucked, and that ain't gonna work. What the is that little toaster hentai? God, what the fuck is wrong with you, world? Yeah. Yeah, no, this is this is Engine Heart right fucking here, effectively. Which is dead serious, the brave little toaster. Now, why do I like Engine Heart so much? What made me, like, fall in love with this stupid fucking game? Because it has strong themes. It has an absurdly strong set of themes behind it. And one of the big things of, like, what Warbots and Wanderings would be is Engine Heart is about, Engine Heart, at its core, is about survival, and hope. You're effectively trying to survive in something that you're not really designed to. You're a goddamn toaster with a knife versus the world. You're not supposed to be exceedingly dangerous, but that's kind of the point. Now, mind you, it does have some rules for what I'm going to be kind of using, but it's like, here's the firearm rule. Like, this is literally it. Manipulate a pistol, attempt to go against another robot. Like, oh boy. Like, here is literally what firearms do. Like, it's a one-page fucking... It's like a paragraph. And someone asked, and actually, I wonder if I can pull up the actual comment behind it. Yeah, we're going to YouTube, kids. You're going to see the back end of things. Yes, here's my YouTube. You can tell a lot about someone by virtue of just looking at their YouTube homepage. We want to go to Contento. We want to page, not page. We want to go to... What am I looking for? Engine Heart. So if we go to I didn't want to click on that, but engine heart. Oh wait, I forgot. This is really stupid. You can't click on engine. You can't click on it. You have to literally like type it in, then select it. So it's by this guy, Will Norman Bargo. Actually, the game of cyborg and androids and terminators and killbots fighting for power. Humans are gone. Sounds fun. Exists somewhere. If you haven't found it or make it, tell me. This is literally what it would be. This is literally the idea right here. And I got the idea. I'm like, can this adorable, cute game about horrible things happening to your toaster adapt to a game about warbots? And the answer is not really. So, like, the core thing that was going to be about warbots and wanderings. So we go here. Which it's going, instead of being additions to the base, this was going to be kind of more of like a legitimate expansion. Like, it's going to be an expansion of something that never was. And the main thing going to be adding is going to be warbots. Now, and and a bunch of additional, and it's going to be actually warbots and additional, and additional parts. Lots of parts. Now, the core idea behind warbots, like the thing that I want to balance with them is, and their tone is going to be a little bit different, because at the end of the day, the bots in Engine Heart are free. They are free to do whatever the fuck they want. And that's kind of noble in a way. That's kind of the point. Is that you are free to do as you please. If you want to fuck off to the four corners of the world, you are able to. You are bound by no one except yourself. It's kind of that libertarian dream that you find, have such an affection for. Warbots, on the other hand, have the definitive, problem of being, bound by duty. That's going to be kind of their theme, with a lot of options, exploring that kind of core concept. The idea of a, a kind of more like a master-slave relationship with, commanders and humans in general, because, like, you still have to obey the fact that you can't really hurt humans unless unless your commander approves of it. You're also going to be dealing with, kind of more direct, being, quote, all-powerful, but needy. You're going to go through power quickly. That's the entire point, is that you need a lot of power. You can store a lot, but you need a lot, which is going to kind of put a strain on anyone. Nobody really wants to deal with you all that much because you eat power. Power that they don't have, and they don't really know what to do with you. And, like, the final major part would be, it's a... How do I want to word this? Effectively, purpose built, but purpose devoid. And that's that kind of idea, that concept I want to explore is from a comic called Heart Gear. It's a manga, actually, and I love Heart Gear. I think it's a great fucking manga. I need to catch up on it, actually. But there's a character named Odin. Odin was a command gear, as they're called. They're called gears. He was a command gear. His entire duty was to lead his troops into battle. He was designed as such, and he fought as such. He wakes up after the war has ended, and he's like, okay, I want to, gather all the soldiers that we have, and I want to do something. Like, we're gonna fight. And they're like, well, there isn't really a war anymore. Everyone's dead. What do we do now, Commander? And he's like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to find a purpose. And it's like, let's go to war. Fuck it. If war is done, let's make one. Hell yeah. And that's kind of like the core idea of that idea. It's like you're purpose built for war. All of your parts are going to have to be military based parts. And they're going to be combat oriented parts. They're going to be combat focused. And you're going to be a combat monster. But you're not going to be an efficient monster. You are built for fighting a war that doesn't exist anymore. And you're going to have to select parts that maybe aren't necessarily useful. Like, yeah, you have an organic scanner because you were meant to hunt down people who were trying to kill you, like rebels of a city. Everyone's dead, so what does an organic scanner do? Well, you can track plants. Good job. Like, you can track animals. It's like, what do you do with these, like, overtly hostile things? That would be kind of the experience of that. Now, the majority of this kind of expansion at the end of the day would be based around this. If I can scroll down to, would be adding these. Now, what I'm going to have to do is, like, literally catalog every single feature in Engine Heart. Actually, let's do a little bit of looking around. I'm curious. So we want to do Engine Heart RPG, homebrew. Maybe we can find some homebrew stuff. Oh, this is a bad 2014. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, like a lot of these are like pretty damn old. Let's see. Yeah, drunker and uglier. Oof. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, it looks like the 2015, 2014. Okay, that's drunk and ugly, ain't it? That ain't it. Anyone have any experience? 2016. Players welcome Bay 12, 2019. Okay. Good start. We got a homebrew damage system. Viral Games Publishing, yeah. That's a... there ain't a Viral Games Publishing anymore, my friend. Yeah, you get a lot of cool ideas like this that are just... there isn't actually that... Oh, wait. Yes. Come on, Mr. Garrison. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. What is, free tabletop? Yeah, no, this is Engine Heart. Engine Heart technically isn't free, but it also is. Everybody cry. Wait, the Bolt RPG engine. Oh, I remember you. Yeah, like... this is the extent of what Engine Heart is. A corpse. Engine Heart is a sad beast because there really isn't actually that much. Wait a second. Am I reminded of Myth Enders? Jesus Christ. Reminded of fucking Myth Enders. Viral, what are you doing? Viral, buddy, where are you? I'll copy the game for free. Oh, gee, yeah, last seen 2013. Yeah, no, he's dead. Can't believe he's fucking dead. Not. Yep, here's Engine Heart. Yeah, it's... you see a lot of, like, people support this game, and I like this. Like, hell, September 13th, 2021. You know, it's... technically you can buy it for 25 bucks, but that's kind of the, ultimate sadness of the experience. Actually, Mythenders, I remember you. Why do I remember you so much? Oh, that's not a good sign when the website doesn't link anywhere anymore. Do you exist anymore, Mythenders? No, you do not. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Well, let's do a little bit of see, I'm gonna have to grab this on my actual on. Oh, jeez. So I'm gonna have to remind myself of Mythenders. Mythenders was a weird game. Cool idea. Very odd. The kind of game that you look at once and you're like, oh, that's kind of quirky, and then you don't think about it again. So, like, this would be... Warbots and Wanderings is going to be, like, a legitimate, actual, like, expansion. It's going to be me going over Engine Heart and adding shit that I think is interesting. Like, not really the same concept as the Notecromancer's Guide. Because Notecromancer's is going to be, at the end of the day, like, here's Necronica, play Necronica, here's just more shit you can do with it. You know, for people who may not entirely be in love with Necronica like I am, here's some things that you can actually do with the game to make it a little bit more interesting, you know, to fit your design, you know, to fit your kind of concept. So, what is the Utopia Wars? Well, I have my favorite game of all time, a game that I adore, a game that I am so happy exists. I'm debating on not even bothering giving it a video, because I seriously cannot be asked to write my opinion on fucking Lancer. Do I like Lancer? No. I don't like Lancer. I find Lancer very dull. Like, here's the thing, like, Lancer is dull. Like, I do not like Lancer for the reason of this. Like, the game is really dull. It's not really the kind of mechs I like. I think the setting is a bit wonky, and it's effectively Shadow of the Demon Lord plus some, like, you know, it's effectively Shadow of the Demon Lord plus 4E with mechs. And I don't like it. I've gone over my opinions on Lancer before, and again, my entire perception of Lancer is that, like, cool idea, I don't give a shit. However, people keep trying to think that it's something else. People keep trying to make sure that this game is something that it's not. Lancer is the best mech game available, and it's great, and I love it. No, it's not. It's fucking awful for any other mech game except for running a game like Lancer. If you don't run a game like Lancer, your game is not going to work. And you can pretend it's going to, but you're not. You're going to be playing Lancer with a different coat of paint. Well, in my game, all the Lancers are actually superpowered knights. Are you still going to buy a fucking license level to get your next mech? Yes, because that is what that game is. You get license levels, you get mechs. It's a video game. It is a game in which I want to put it on my phone, and I want to tap the little buttons, and I want to clap when things happen. That's what it is. And I don't like that aspect. So, what is the Utopia Wars about? So, what is my idea of, what is the idea behind the Utopia Wars? Well, one of the big things I always hear, like, as a complaint against Lancer, which I find personally bullshit, by the way, like, you can't really, like, the biggest thing that I hear is that, like, oh, the Union, the Union is a utopia, is effectively a communist utopia, and everyone it sucks. Sucks Lamau. Now, one thing that I want to do is, one of the problems that I always enjoy talking about this is utopia. Utopia is impossible because everybody has a different definition of what a utopia actually is. So utopia wars would be taking place mostly inside of the Union, which is going to be undergoing the titular utopia wars. Now, does this work in canon? Sort of. You want to know why it works in canon? Because literally in canon, there's the Omega Death Super AI, which is saying all possible realities are true but false. So I'm saying, fuck it. What are you going to do? Stop me? So, at the end of the day, Utopia Wars is going to gut the systems and repersonalize them. Your license level? Oh no, I got my license level. Nah, don't need it, don't want it. Fuck it, who fucking cares about your license level? Bitch, we are at war. You're gonna get in your scrap heap of a fucking mech and you're gonna beat the shit out of them. And if you don't, you're going to die. You will go out to the frontier and you will die because you are going against someone who is a hell of a lot better than you. And that person is going to kill you because they're a better pilot. Because the big thing with, things like license level, more like mech building, mech building stuff. Nah, we're not doing that. You want to know why we don't want the mech building aspect? Because technically what you're supposed to do in this game, what the actual thing, what you're supposed to do is you buy your licenses. And we'll use these guys. We'll use IPS North Star because they have my favorite. They actually have the one, the various mechs I actually enjoy. And you choose one of these things, and then you choose. Guess what? You get more licenses, and when you get more licenses, you can choose these little options right here. And once you choose these little options, you slot them into your mech, and that's how you build a mech. Fuck that. We are going to war. We are going to enact a global fucking holocaust of annihilation against our enemies with giant fuck off robots. None of this pussy shit, pussyfoot and license level shit. Nah. We are going to shoot the people who want our licenses because we have giant 3D mega printers and we're going to use them. And I want to build a shit ton of parts that are pretty much going to be the Linux equivalents. And it's like, yeah, here's a bunch of Linux equipment. Here's a bunch of free open source shit that war is demanding people make. You can select your you're like, I will choose I'm going to choose my Drake. Like, you can do that, or you're gonna choose the effectively the Linux equivalent. And like the thing is, like, non-existent pilots, nah, they are important. Which is going to be like one of the big things, is that I want to give pilots a little bit more going for them, because the problem is pilots do nothing. Pilots are useless. Like, and this is one thing I always see when people are like, man, I adore the pilot system in Lancer. I'm like, how? How do you like this? Your pilot is fucking useless. It does nothing. Your pilot is literally a non-factor. It means so little about who they are. But it should. That's the thing. Like, it should. Because the titular Lancers, that's what, the pilots are called. Lancers. Like, oh, well, they come from all walks of life. And they're like, oh, look at all the cool Lancers. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing that annoys me the most about Lancer. Is that your Lancers aren't actually important. The mechs that they buy from the companies are important. How you customize your mechs is important. And they're like, oh, what about role playing? Like, yeah, you can make any fucking character interesting role playing. You can also make any character dull role playing. It's like a non-factor when you come into any of these things. Like, that's why I'm a huge proponent of actual mechanics behind things. Because if you don't have mechanics, it doesn't mean anything. It fundamentally means zilch. So, what are we actually going to be doing with this? How are we going to be doing the Utopia Wars? Which is going to be kind of like we're going to call it a reimagining. Reimaginating. That's definitely a word. Reimagining of Lancer from from a mechanic. Like, big thing is we're going to have effectively it's going to be the idea of Linux bots. Linux Lancers. The idea that you can effectively find an open source copy of these things, and they're going to do what they want, and which we're going to need to do more customization options. Let's see, more customization options, and generally a lot more things for pilot effects, things that make your pilot feel interesting. You're not just another pilot. I don't want that. What I want to be is that you are, Domitus, a man who is so fucking fast, and he's so jacked up on goddamn drugs currently that he overclocks his mech because he's fine-tuned that fucking thing to do exactly what he wants. He can slap any part he wants on it. It's going to go a little bit faster. Why? Because he's that fucking good. And I want the idea of, like, these guys are competent. They are soldiers. These guys are scary motherfuckers. And I want them to walk into a room and it's not like, oh, wow, look, everybody. It's like our favorite, Firefly episode. No, and I want everyone to shit their pants like in Titanfall. I'm effectively going to try to write a Titanfall game using the guts of Lancer. And I want people to get across. Like, Lancer isn't really designed for that. But I'm going to design it for it. I'm going to rip the guts out of this game, and I'm going to shit down its throat by rewriting the entire thing. And in case someone's like, what? Notepad, Anon, you can't rewrite this entire game from the ground up effectively to make it more interesting. That's stealing. And the answer I'm going to give them is, man, I really like Shadow the Demon Lord, don't you know? And it's like, that's what it's going to be. Like, honestly, this game is going to be such like an expansive expansion, you can say, that it's going to be a lot of just stuff on top of it. Like, that's going to be the big thing about this version in particular. It's going to be, you want more mech stuff? Cool, here's some more mech options. Oh, you want some more actual pilot mechanics so your pilots don't feel like fucking no ones? Yeah, damn straight we're going to be doing that. Hey, you want to have literally because you get some mechs that I like, oh, this is kind of a cool idea of a mech. But thing is, they're too kind of caught up in its own lore at some point. That's why I say you can never run anything outside of what Lancer wants you to write. And if you think you can run anything outside of what Lancer wants you to run, you're wrong. You honestly are fucking stupid. Unless you make something for it. But at that point, it's well, why bother? But you can just refluff it. I hate that fucking argument. Fucking despise that argument. Every single time I hear that argument, every single time I think it's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Because the answer usually is, you can refluff everything you want, but it ain't gonna change the game. You can tell people that, oh, this isn't a Blackbeard. No, this isn't a whatever the fuck it is. This isn't a Horus mech. Oh no, it's a libbity pop bibbity boop bop mech, and it's fine. Nah, they're still gonna call it they're gonna call it a Horus. They're gonna call it a Blackbeard, and whatever fluff that you decided to call it isn't gonna matter. Because in their head, it's going to be that. So what you got to do is you got to make sure that they don't get that point. So the final one is like, actually, I'm curious, like antonym for apocalypse. Like, there isn't really any good one. Like, Godsend, I guess, would be like powered by Godsend. Like that. That's why I've just been calling it canceling the apocalypse for a while now. Just the idea is simple enough. Now, the core concept of a let me pull up a PBTA game. What's a good PB? Do I actually have just powered by the apocalypse? Let me see. We want to do general systems, PBOK. We'll do an oldie. We'll do an older one. Yeah, okay. We'll do World of Conan. This is a pretty old one. There isn't actually much here. So, the idea, the basic core concept of a Powered by the Apocalypse game is the following. What is a PBTA game? We know that it's going to be 2d6. Actually, what we do know is that it's going to be a narrative-based system, and there's going to be moves, which are broad scope narrative actions, and there is going to be playbooks, which are pretty much broad roles, broad roles, not classes, broad roles, because technically you can have a few classes that are like a few playbooks that are the exact same mechanically or do the exact same thing, but they're just different slightly. Oh yeah, people are talking about San Francisco. Wait a second, is that a fucking Zapatista? Zapistas. Oh my lord, it's a Zapatistas. Okay, this is funny. Someone posted this on my Discord. Someone posted this in my Discord. That means I gotta share it with the family, Wait a second. Let's see, wait a second. Like, here's the thing. Sorry, we're ignoring this now. We're ignoring Powered by the Apocalypse because I'm fucking annoyed with Powered by the Apocalypse. Someone sent me this. This got sent to my Discord just now. Now, you see this, the Zapatista Army of Liberation. What are these guys? Zapatistas. So, what is Zapatistas? They're effectively the Army of National Liberation offers Zapatistas, the libertarian, socialist, political, and militant group controls substantial amount of territory in the Chiapas, the southernmost state of Mexico. These are effectively, for lack of a better word, terrorists. These are Mexican terrorists that are fighting for indigenous rights, but they've also been shooting people, like a lot of people, and like. I find it amusing. Like, people love these guys. Everyone's like, man, we love the Zapatista government. Like, we love these guys. Yeah, with the Zapatista flag. Like, we love Zappas. They're effectively libertarian socialism. It's very odd. Because these guys are, for lack of a better word, like, barely functional, like they're militants. That's what they are. They're militants. Like, they can run a country, they can run all this, but they are, at the end of the day, a unrecognized government of militants who are trying to actually run this state as like a legitimate state. The problem is, one, they're effectively running it by, force. Effectively, if you step out of line, you're going to get shot. That's just how things go. Now, one of the problems that I find so much with Zapatistas is that, like, everybody likes them for some fucking reason, even though no one really understands the fact that they are literally a armed insurgent group that would never work with the actual, Hispanic, the Mexican government. It's like, what are you, like, holy shit. But everyone's like, I'm a Zapatista. Be like, no, bitch, you're from fucking San Francisco, man. You are from San Fran. Like, you are not you are not the rebellion. You are literally some kid from San Francisco who went to an American school, who went to an American college, and is talking about, mega, it's like, God. Yeah, like, these guys haven't really been doing much for a while now. Like, let's see. Yeah, participants in the middle, tens of thousands of civilian supporters. Like, I would like to believe that these guys, there's like an ending, there's an end to these guys, like, well, we'll work together with it. Like, not really. And I find it funny, people are like, we support these guys. Like, no. Like, you are a random fucking dude. Would not be accepted by them. Okay, we finished that conversation about fucking Zappas, man. Like, the thing is, it's never... How do I want to word this? It's never like... It's always like some weird fucking white kid doing it, or it's like, don't worry, I'm a Japanese Chinese descendant from America, being like, bitch, you've never been to Mexico, nor will you ever go to Mexico. You're not a Zapatista. They wouldn't like you because you're not them. Ugh. So, here's the thing when it comes to PBTA games. At the end of the day, actually, this is actually a very bad one because it's the Tyrant. But, like, for example, the big thing is you have to choose your moves. Actually, this is a bad one too, because of how... Do you actually get any good ones? No, you don't really get any. Okay, yeah, here we go. Finally, we can actually get some... Yeah, like, sellswords are bad. Like, the main thing with, these are broad roles. These are roles which you take part in. And some of them are a little bit better than others when it comes to it. But the problem is, vast majority of the ones you're going to find are like Riley fucking Hopkins, the literal, like, mouth-breathing, glue-sniffing, dumb fucker he is. Don't like Riley Hopkins, if you can't tell. I think Riley is a fucking moron who just eats, who eats glue for a living and can no longer actually perform any, basic human task without an assistance with a nappy on. And, some kind of person helping him along the way. But the core idea is that you pick a broad idea, you have some moves, you have some playbooks. That's what kind of defines what a PBTA is. Now, the most common PBTA system, I would say, the thing is, it's odd, and I've been wanting to do a video on this, because, like, you have base PBTA, you actually, well, we're going to call it is Apocalypse World. We'll say PBTA Puritan. Now, from Apocalypse World, you ended up spawning, PBTA, derivatives. Now, what is the derivative? Derivatives are games that use the same ideas but expand upon them. Now, you also get over here, which is going to be PBTA, anarcho. Anarcho PBTA, you can argue. Actually, no, this would be more like... In which, from there, actually, from PBTA derivatives, you would end up with a little bit more stuff going on. Because then you end up with things like, PBTA, anarcho PBTA, which doesn't kind of goes away with a lot of the kind of expanded concepts. And then you have things such as, let me just go here. Like it's kind of, I'm doing this in a fucking Notepad document. What do you expect from me? Which, and then you have things such as Blades in the Dark, which Blades in the Dark uses the same shit. They don't like to say they do, but they do. And then you have things like, diceless versions. Now, the core idea is, though, the most common version of these is 2d6, is a 2d6 check on a 6 or less. On a 6 or, actually it would be on a 7 or less. Is it 7 or less? Let's actually double check, because this one's actually pretty fucking Puritan. I remember this. Like, this is pretty Puritan. Don't give a shit, don't give a shit, don't give a shit. Okay. So it's pretty much on like a, less than 6. Less than 6, bad fail, you suck, fuck you. On a 7 to 9, good but bad thing. On a 10 plus, good thing. Usually when it comes down to options, it's options that give you a series of things that you can do. So, for example, if we use in World of Conan, because not like Conan, fuck you. So, if you try to do something, well, actually, do we have any good? There we go. Right here, better part of valor. If you play the thief, you get the move of better part of valor. Name it escape route. Roll cunning. 10 plus, you're gone. 7 to 9, you can go and stay. Cost you something. Leave something behind or take something with you. Tells you what. On a miss, you're caught vulnerable, half in, half out. That's kind of the idea. You bad, you suck, you're half in. You're good, but a bad thing occurs. Or good thing, congratulations. You're good. Now, the idea of what we're going to have to do with this is that we're going to have to backhack these things. We have to pretty much roll everything back to, it's going to sound very odd, but I pretty much need to make, it would be, an alternate system, an alternate method to run a PBTA game by killing the PBTA in it. How do you take an idea? For example, we'll say I fucking hate interstitial, but we're going to use it. Actually, no, we're going to use something. Actually, we're going to use a good idea, a potentially good idea. This is Glitter Hearts. Glitter Hearts wasn't bad. Glitter Hearts just suffer from the fact that it was PBT fucking A. Glitter Hearts, for example. How do you make this? How do you turn on the most basic ideas of this game backwards? How do you start, taking all these ideas, applying them elsewhere? Because at the end of the day, like, the narrative-based system we can keep to a degree, but like, yeah, actually I can get rid of this finally. I don't need this. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, let's see. So, like, the core idea would be more of like a detox of it. So, like, it's kind of like, how do you backhack moves? It's going to be, remajiggering. That's a great word, by the way. Remajiggering. Remajiggering the core, the core mechanics. Pretty much the ultimate idea of canceling the apocalypse at the end of the day. The final ultimate goal of it would be to have a method for someone the main idea would be to have a method in the game where you can say, I like this PBTA game. I like the ideas in it. I like the concepts in it. However, I don't like the fact that it's PBTA. I want you to be able to open this document and then be able to backhack everything with it. Because it's this, how do we do this? Because it is this, this is how we do this. Because it is Y, this is how you do X. That would be the main goal. That is the main method. Now, doing so, a little bit more complicated. Do I know how to do it? Absolutely not. But do I think there is one? Of course there is. But I think I'm gonna call it there for today. I'm tired. And it's like 11:50, and I really need to go to bed. And I have a strange feeling a Texan's gonna get mad at me for calling him a fucking idiot. So I'm gonna call it there for today. Godspeed. Good luck, everybody. On Monday, we're gonna be working on the detox. We're not the detox. We're gonna be going over the Redux project of Dying of Dryads. Hopefully things work out relatively well there. I think that should work pretty smoothly. Doing so else, I don't really know. I don't know how long that game's going to take, to be honest. I really don't. Mostly down to the fact that there's just so much shit in that game, but also not a lot to work with. So it's like, okay, what do I scrape away? What do I change? And what do I kind of edit back? So that's going to be fun to do. Well, not fun, but just painful in its own way. So that's all I can really ask for there. For video stuff, I will see if I can't get a video. My goal is to get 2 videos done a week at this point until my backlog is pretty much done. So next week we're going to be doing the FAP video for sure. Like, the FAP video is going to be, that's the problem, child. Let me see, what is the... Yeah, let's see. Actually, I should take those 2 off since I'm here. Probably it'll be FAP and Masta. We'll just make it a fucking degenerate week just because I can. And with those 2 done, I can start moving on. And then probably next week is going to be FAP and Masta. The week after that, we can do Panty Explosion and Overarms. The Overarms video is really short, actually. Like, there isn't actually much there. So that'll be I think that'll be a good Wednesday video, while the end of the month, the end of November, the Panty Explosion video should be a good one. That fucker is 5 minutes long and is a nightmare to deal with, so I'm having fun with that. But yeah, no, thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad, and I will catch you all on Monday. So, yeah, goodbye. I am